Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today is a fantastic day to dive deep into the drama unfolding in Port Charles. We have so much to unpack from the latest developments, and we are absolutely buzzing with thoughts on where these character arcs are heading. Let us get right into the thick of it. I just finished watching the latest developments, and I am literally pacing the room right now. I cannot stay quiet about what the writers are doing with Sonny Corinthos and this entire explosive situation with Valentin Cassadine. We need to talk about the structural choices being made here because, as someone who studies the rhythm and pacing of soap storytelling, I am seeing a massive shift in how these characters are being deployed. Let me say this clearly. The writers are finally setting up a collision course that feels earned, but they are also walking a very dangerous tightrope with how they are handling the legal and emotional stakes. I am reacting with a mix of absolute thrill and intense frustration, and we need to break down exactly why this narrative is hitting so hard right now. Let us start with that phenomenal interaction between Sonny and ADA Justine. Sonny walks into her orbit, throws his weight around, and makes a direct proposal to use her office for his own agenda. And Justine, she immediately rejects it. She shuts him down cold because she refuses to be an accomplice to his extra-legal, outside-the-law methods. Can we be honest about this for a second? Do you understand how rare and refreshing it is to see a legal official in Port Charles actually stand their ground against Sonny Corinthos? I am so used to seeing district attorneys, police commissioners, and judges fold like cheap suits the second Sonny narrows his eyes and makes a demand. The writers have a terrible habit of neutralizing the legal system to make Sonny look smarter, but not this time. Justine looking him in the eye and refusing to play his game is a brilliant scriptwriting choice. It creates actual, palpable friction. It means Sonny cannot just intimidate or bribe his way out of this specific problem. He actually has to work for it. But am I supposed to pretend that this rejection is going to stop him? Because we all know exactly how this show is structured. Even with Justine throwing up a massive roadblock, Sonny is never actually left without an out. Enter Brick. Of course, Sonny is already on the verge of receiving positive news, and of course, it involves crucial evidence that Brick has managed to dig up. Brick is the ultimate narrative safety net for the writers. Whenever they write Sonny into a corner, Brick is the magic key that unlocks the door. As a writer, I have to admit that I find this a little lazy sometimes. It is a classic deus ex machina. Instead of Sonny outsmarting his enemies through sheer cunning, he just makes a phone call and Brick hands him the smoking gun. But in this specific storyline, I will allow it, because the target is Valentin Cassadine, and taking down Valentin requires heavy artillery. The evidence that Brick has collected is about to change the entire landscape of this show. Sonny is preparing to drop a shocking piece of evidence that will completely disrupt the narrative that Valentin has been so carefully controlling. This is the structural pivot I have been waiting for. Valentin has been sitting way too comfortably in his ivory tower, pulling strings, manipulating the board, and acting like he is completely untouchable. He thinks he is operating on a higher frequency than the street-level mob tactics of Sonny Corinthos, but Sonny is about to blow a hole right through Valentin's defenses. If Sonny and Valentin are truly gearing up for a brand new all-out war, I am entirely here for it. This is mob boss versus international operative. This is brute force and street loyalty versus espionage and psychological warfare. The contrasting styles of how these two men fight make for incredible television, and the writers are finally utilizing that contrast to its maximum potential. But let us get to the real meat of this story. Let us talk about the emotional core that is driving this entire conflict, because it is not just about territory, power, or business. It is about Carly. Sonny has a new obsession, and that obsession is to completely obliterate the romance between Carly and Valentin. Let me be fiercely opinionated here. Sonny's motivation is absolutely infuriating, and yet it is perfectly in character. Am I supposed to pretend that Sonny is doing this out of the goodness of his heart? Am I supposed to believe that he just wants to protect Carly from a dangerous man? Please. This is pure, unadulterated, toxic possessiveness. Sonny cannot stand the idea of Carly being with someone who is his equal, or worse, his superior in the game of shadows. Carly and Valentin are a fascinating dynamic. They have this dangerous, magnetic chemistry that makes for incredible soap opera storytelling. Valentin challenges Carly in ways that Sonny never did. He sees the darkness in her and respects it, rather than trying to manage it. But Sonny's fragile ego cannot handle that reality. When I look at the psychological framing of Sonny's actions, it is so clear that his desire to destroy Valentin is fueled 50% by business and 50% by extreme jealousy. He needs to dictate Carly's orbit. He needs to be the center of her universe, even when they are not together. I am sorry, but it makes my blood boil to see Sonny acting like he has the moral high ground here, but from a dramatic standpoint, it is brilliant writing. It gives the upcoming war a deeply personal, visceral edge. It is not just about who controls Port Charles, it is about who gets to stand next to Carly. So now we have this incredibly complex, multi-layered trap closing in on Valentin. You have Sonny, who is absolutely relentless and fueled by personal vendetta. You have Brick, who is providing the undeniable, shocking proof that will dismantle Valentin's public and private control. And then you have Justine. Now, Justine may have rejected Sonny's initial proposal, but let us look at the structure of how these plots resolve. Justine is a prosecutor. If Sonny and Brick drop hard, irrefutable evidence of Valentin's crimes right onto her desk, she is going to have to act on it. She will not be doing it as a favor to Sonny. She will be doing it because it is her job. And that is the absolute genius of what the writers are setting up. Sonny, Brick, and Justine are forming an unintentional, unholy alliance. They are taking new, decisive actions that are going to cause an unprecedented amount of trouble for Valentin. This pincer movement is exactly what the show needed. Valentin is about to face a legal squeeze from Justine and an underworld assault from Sonny, all backed by Brick's undeniable evidence. How is Valentin going to survive this? I am watching this unfold, and I am genuinely on the edge of my seat, because Valentin is a Cassadine, and Cassadines do not just roll over and accept defeat. If the writers just let Valentin get bulldozed by this combined threat, I will be the first one to call it a massive failure of storytelling. Valentin needs to counterattack. He needs to use his own leverage. But right now, the momentum is entirely with Sonny. The pacing of this setup is relentless. The writers are not dragging this out with endless, repetitive conversations in the Metro Court. They are moving the pieces aggressively. Sonny's proposal to Justine was a heat check. It was him testing the waters to see how much control he could exert over the legal system. Her rejection forces him to pivot and rely on the explosive evidence Brick has uncovered. It forces the narrative forward. It means that when the bomb drops on Valentin, it is going to be a public, messy, and undeniable spectacle. And right in the middle of this explosion will be Carly, forced to choose sides, forced to confront the reality of who Valentin is, and forced to deal with the fact that Sonny orchestrated the entire collapse of her romance. I have to stand back and admire the sheer audacity of this plot. It is messy, it is emotionally volatile, and it is grounded in decades of established character flaws. Sonny is acting like a tyrant, Valentin is acting like an untouchable king, and Carly is the prize they are both trying to claim, whether she wants to be or not. And through it all, you have Justine representing the actual law, trying desperately not to get pulled into the mud, but inevitably becoming the weapon that Sonny uses to strike the final blow. This is what General Hospital is supposed to feel like. It is supposed to feel dangerous. It is supposed to make you angry at the characters, while you simultaneously cannot wait to see what they do next. I am predicting right now that Valentin's reaction to this shocking evidence is going to be violent and calculated. He will not go down without trying to take Sonny's empire with him. And if Sonny thinks that destroying this romance will make Carly run back to him, he is deeply mistaken. Carly is going to resent the hell out of Sonny for interfering in her life with such brute force. The fallout from this is going to shatter relationships across the board, and I absolutely cannot wait to watch every single second of it. The writers have lit the fuse, and the explosion is going to be spectacular.